What's up, YouTube? Knight's Edge here again. Got another little quick review for you of a really cool little knife. This is actually a collaboration between Mechforce and Lala. This one was sent to me courtesy of Mr. Eddie. Y'all go check him out on Instagram, Mr. Eddie_411. It's thanks to people like him that I get to review and look at really cool knives like this. I otherwise definitely wouldn't have never been able to get a hold of something like this and check it out, So really nice of Mr. Eddie to help us out with that and allow me to bring this cool content to the channel. So Mechforce knives in collaboration with Lala. This is the Sentry. Really, like first thing, as soon as you see this knife, or me anyway, first thing that stood out to me was the pattern, man. That really cool pattern on the handle and also the clip. So this is like a I guess you can call it like a sea serpent maybe type of clip. The pattern on the handle is scroll pattern, they call it. So that's pretty neat. We're going to talk all about it. We'll go ahead and get the specs out the way, get size comparisons, all that. I'll probably should flip it open for you there so you can see the whole thing. Get a good close-up of it. M390 on the blade, titanium milled handles right there. So, get the old tape measure out here. I'm trying not to make this too long of a video because this is one of the most interesting knives I've ever handled. So, from the tip of the blade all the way to the end of the handle, you're looking at 8 1/4 inches. Blade length overall, if you go all the way back to right here where it meets up with the handle at, you're looking right at 3 7/8. If you're going cutting edge on the blade, you're looking right under 3 1/2 on cutting edge. I'd say that's right at 3 3/8. Maybe a hair over 3 3/8 right there. So pretty good dimensions there. Definitely what you call a full-size knife. We'll go ahead and get out the calibers here. Give her a little check with the calibers. Zero them out. All right, so thickest part of the spine. Pretty thick knife, really, when you look at it. 164 thousandths, what I got right there. Do a double take on that. 163 thousandths, so pretty close. Definitely a deep hollow grind on this one for sure, and it swedges down pretty good. So right underneath the cutting edge, you're looking at 20 thousandths. So from that, you definitely swedge down a good little bit there. So definitely what I would call a deep hollow grind. Over 1/2 inch on the blade stock thickness, or I'm sorry, not the blade stock thickness, on the handle thickness. Pretty comfortable handle. Pretty good full-size knife, so I'd say that no complaints there. Like a lot of knives, most knives, I'd say it's right in between. Not too pointy, not too thin, and not too large around on the ergonomics for the handle there. So that's a good thing. All right, let's see what else we got here. Get the scale out. If I can find it. I'll get the scale in the right spot. There we go. Make sure the scale's zeroed out. This thing carries pretty good. I'm going to guess, I haven't weighed it yet. I'm going to guess probably around 5.5 ounces. Pretty close, actually. Man, that's surprising to me. Let's double check that. Yeah, 5.4 ounces. So that's pretty good. This is a full titanium paramilitary 2, right at 5 ounces. So not too much of an inconvenience, I wouldn't think. Depends on what you're wearing, what you're using it for. Your weight preference and everything may vary, of course. So I mean, I wouldn't want to carry this if I was, wearing some jogging pants or gym shorts, something like that. So definitely something to keep in mind. Let me go ahead and kind of stay on track here before I start yakking on about all the different stuff about this knife, but this is a really unique pocket clip. So like a sea serpent lime green. This is I think NC Blades maybe. I'm gonna have to double check that for sure. I don't want to give anyone the wrong information, but I think that lime green is an exclusive for them. I'll have to check it out and see, but yeah, definitely a deep carry pocket clip, milled titanium pocket clip all the way, and deep carry. That's pretty cool. I definitely appreciate that. Doesn't snag or anything. These screws are flat, and they're not inset behind the handle, but they are flat headed. So your blue jeans or whatever you're putting this in as a pocket clip won't. It's not grabby. So that's a definite good thing. All right, so we'll go ahead and get some size comparisons out the way. We'll do the Ritter Hogue RSK, MK1, and G10. All right, so you can see it's a little bit larger than that, and definitely larger than the Hogue Deca. As far as cutting edge goes, right at the same as far as cutting edge as that one. So overall length is just a little bit longer than the Ritter Hogue. With the Ontario Nas Rat Model 1. Ontario Nas Rat Model 2. So definitely larger than both. I would say a little bit longer than both. This is definitely a full-size knife, overbuilt knife by some people's standards, I would say, with that super thick blade stock. But I wouldn't consider this an overbuilt knife. I would just say it's kind of comparable to a Hinder in a lot of ways as far as the build goes. So you got the Paramilitary 2 and the Spyderco Para 3, right? So definitely closer to the size of the Paramilitary 2. Paramilitary 2 seems to be a pretty good comparison for a lot of knives in the knife world, just because it's sort of like a industry standard, I guess you would say. So there you go. Definitely a full-size knife, larger than all the ones that I showed just now, larger than a lot of common knives. We'll go ahead and do a hardware check here. I got the Weeha driver. So, doing a hardware check. Check out the body screws, T8. This is a T8, by the way. Check out the pivot, T8. Not a captive pivot, to my knowledge, unless it's D-shaped. Might be a D-shaped pivot barrel. This is over travel stop. That is T8. So all the body screws are T8. The pivot's T8 on both sides. That's awesome. If it is a captive pivot, I'm not going to take this apart. This is not my knife to take apart. So I don't want to, interfere with anything. I definitely try to be respectful of other people's stuff. They let me borrow, but that's a T6 right there on the pocket clip. So it'd be really cool if the pocket clip was T8. That's a little bit of a downer right there. Not really a terribly big deal. I mean, if you got good quality tools, use a lot of pressure when you're applying the bit in there, definitely helps out a lot. So did all the dimensions, all the hardware checks, all that good stuff. Now I had to mention before I forget that this thing does come in a really cool box. I did a live unboxing of a lot of knives from Mr. Eddie, but this is one that comes and you got the foam insulation in there. It comes in a hard plastic, really, really durable little box. So that's cool, and there's the information right there in case you're wondering. And in case I forgot to mention something. All right, so all the specs out of the way. My thoughts, my overall thoughts on this knife. I absolutely love this one. This is a great knife, in my opinion. Ergonomic wise, it is super comfortable. I have regular size hands, I guess you would say, for a 6 foot tall male. I wear a large size glove. Not incredibly large hands, not incredibly small hands, I wouldn't say. So right in between. And this thing handles perfect for that. So choke back, you're looking at a good, comfortable grip like that. And then choked up, this thing is carved out enough right here for that finger choil to where you can get up really comfortable on it and kind of get in there for some detail slicing. Jumped up here and it's really comfortable. Everything about this is contoured very well from the outside of the top of the handle to the inside. It's not sharp and grabby there or anything. Very, very nice that they put a backspacer to help keep lint and debris and stuff like that out and kind of stabilize it a little more as well. Really super nice. And these are not on that, they're not grabby at all, so that's a good thing. Kind of got a little spot there for a lanyard. Seems like a little bit of an afterthought maybe, but for anyone that's interested in putting a lanyard on this thing, that's good also. That really deep hollow grind, this thing slices super well. I've done a little bit of very light cutting with it. And this thing is just awesome. Now, I'd have to say the thing that shines about this knife, absolutely, in my opinion, is the action. It has excellent action on it. I mean, as soon as you push the frame lock in, it's frame lock, by the way, and as soon as you clear the detent, which will be right about there, as soon as you clear that detent, that thing just glides shut. It's not a super guillotine or anything, but it does come down with the weight of that blade, so that's the detent catching it right now, right? But as soon as you clear that detent, it goes shut pretty quick. The flipper tab, not really aggressive. It is a larger flipper tab. I think that it would have been nice if they could have made it a little smaller, but also it does give you plenty of leverage. So that's something to consider for sure. And the jimping on that's really comfortable, really, really contoured right there. When you look at it, they did contours around the edges on the flipper tab. That's insane. The pattern, it comes in all kinds of different patterns for the handles, but this one in particular, the scroll pattern, titanium, the milling that they did in here, this is crazy, really super duper quality work, I think. Now, this is assembled in the United States out of domestic and foreign parts, right? So, as far as I know, what I've read up on it a little bit, the blade is made in China or somewhere foreign, not necessarily China. And some of the other parts are kind of made and everything's assembled domestically here in the States and QC checked and all that. So that's something to keep in mind. It's not totally a foreign made knife, I wouldn't say. I don't know if I mentioned this, but even the tops of these handles are contoured. The contouring on this thing's crazy. It's very super comfortable, super locked in whenever you're cutting with it, and you feel pretty secure in that. It's a pretty comfortable grip. M390 on the blade steel. No complaints there. That's pretty much standard for a premium knife, I'd say, for a blade steel. The billboard, and I think they could have done a little bit less of it, but I get that they're proud of it. Rick Lala right there with his skull smoking cigar logo, IQPS, M390, Mechforce logo, all that. Could have done with a little bit less of that, but not really a major complaint there. But the action on this thing is insane. Rick Lala was, from what I've read, is someone that helped invent or did invent the IKBS ball bearing system. And it definitely shows on this. This is super smooth, really excellent knife. Very little complaints about it other than the T6 on the, T6 on the pocket clip. That's not too bad. And the price, it runs right around $400. I think this particular version, if I'm not mistaken, double check me for sure, is around $425 or so. But I am definitely going to put this on my recommended knives playlist. So definitely a great little knife for sure. And super duper shout out to Mr. Eddie for letting me check knives like this out. Definitely appreciate it, man. Awesome blade, and really am considering getting one myself. So until next time, this is the Knight's Edge, and thank you guys for watching.